Welcome to Sex Ed, middle schoolers. We'll start off the class by dividing up into boys and girls. Boys will be in this room with me, and the girls next door with Miss Buckles.
But what if someone doesn't know if they're a boy or girl?
That's a great question. Usually this is how we've always done it, but I appreciate the progressive forward thinking of you all and should incorporate the discussion of the transgender community. Curriculum inclusion is key, which will give you a better understanding of all types of people. We hope this extension of the curriculum will leave you with a deeper knowledge, skill set, and attitude about the transgender community. Does anyone have any questions?
Wait, Ms. Buckles, then what does transgender mean?
So transgender is an umbrella term used by people in a number of different groups, including but not limited to cross-dressers, those who sometimes wear clothing of the opposite sex, genderqueer people, those who feel they belong to either both genders or neither gender, and then transsexuals, an older, sometimes more outdated term that people use for those who take hormones and have sexual reassignment surgery in order to transition to the opposite sex. So can I ask you, class, does anyone know the difference between gender identity and gender expression?
Is gender identity when you think you're a boy or girl, and then gender expression is how you present yourself?
Well, what bathroom do they use?
Inclusive practices in terms of having gender-neutral bathrooms are becoming more and more accessible. It's a current and evolving topic of discussion in the trans community as well as worldwide.
What's the normal transition for someone to become trans?
Everyone's transition is different. There isn't a clearly defined norm. Some transgender people opt to have surgery so that their bodies more fully match their identities, while others do not desire or cannot afford surgery. Both sexes have options for both top and bottom altering surgeries, broken down into four main categories: non-op, where one does not decide to go through with surgery; pre-op, where someone is intending to have surgery but they have not been completed yet; mid-op, you're going through the process of your intended surgeries; or post-op, where you have completed all top and bottom or a combination of both surgeries.
And I would just like to point out that sometimes we focus a little too much on the physical aspect of the transition, but there's also a very personal internal transition that goes along with it that's different from each person.
Does everyone get surgery?
Some of these surgeries can cost upwards of $200,000, which is increasingly difficult for transgender individuals given some confusion and lacking knowledge in the current medical community, meaning it's harder for transgender individuals to attain healthcare.
So if I came to school tomorrow dressed as a boy, would I be transgender?
So I wouldn't say you're necessarily transgender if you're dressing like a boy. Keep in mind there's cross-dressers, genderqueer, there's a whole lot of terms as I went on about the umbrella term for transgender, and many people who cross-dress are very comfortable with their assigned sex. And to go on into gender expression and gender identity and how those two are very different in the end. So I think that we should continue this conversation next class, and I'm really glad that we could start this whole education process, as I feel it's very important.